Greetings and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. My name's Jeff, and I'm joined, as always, by my good friends Richard.
Hello.
And Michael.
Howdy.
Richard and Michael like to debate and deliberate the Mount Rushmore of ubiquitous topics, including the Mount Rushmore of movie Brawls. Richard, you chose it. Explain it.
I did, because there was one movie I was thinking about that is on my list that had a tremendous fist fight scene.
Howard's End, Merchant Ivory production.
Yes. Him and Thompson and Anthony Hopkins. 10 minutes of straight violence.
Straight out.
No. So there's one movie that was on my list, which
Okay.
got me thinking, like, oh, this is definitely on the Mount Rushmore of movie Brawls.
Right on.
What else would be on there?
Cool. Okay.
Now,
All right.
is this to you, when you define brawl, is this isn't just like a one-on-one fight?
It could be.
Oh, okay.
I think two people can have a brawl.
Uh-huh.
I would say that a brawl generally mostly involves hand-to-hand combat, so no gunfights. That's not a brawl.
No,
Okay.
no, I agree there.
Okay.
I would disagree that I would say a brawl involves multiple people.
I don't know.
More than two, because then you're just fighting. Then you're just in a duel almost.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
It's my topic, so
It's interesting.
screw you.
Well, but you're not the judge.
You know, I
so
think Brawl
screw you
also
back.
has a little bit of a gusto and maybe a little bit of lack of forethought or planning to.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not something that's usually highly choreographed.
Yeah.
I like when two boxers have a real Donnybrook, it's a brawl.
Okay. Let's jump in. Let's
right.
see what happens.
Okay, I
Michael,
guess.
you're up.
The first one that I thought of, maybe just by the word itself, was the Burly Brawl in The Matrix, Reloaded.
Yeah, that's the first one came to my mind too because that
When
name. Yeah.
Neo is fighting initially Agent Smith, who like confronts him in a courtyard, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 7 more Agent Smiths show up to fight him, and Neo, being the one, holds his own and knocks them all down. And I believe initially Agent Smith tries to kind of infiltrate him and infect him with whatever virus he has to duplicate him and turn Neo into another Smith himself. And then, he knocks those guys down, and then out of the woodworks, 187 something other, for a total of like 195 of these Agent Smiths are attacking Neo, and he has to fend them off with all sorts of kung fu shenanigans, including like a big pole that he kicks them in the face with and spins around. And I believe that it was just dubbed the Burly Brawl. By the kind of visual effects team.
That's funny that I read the same thing, and I think at the same time evaluating the plague that sequels have in which they use multiplication to improve upon the original.
2 things have to happen in a sequel. One, things get multiplied, the danger.
Yeah.
Also, they take the character out of the initial place that they were in, be it New York City.
Yeah.
And then they make them go worldwide.
Yeah.
Or someplace. They're in a foreign country.
Like Babe 2, Babe in the City.
Babe 2, Babe in the City. Muppets, The Great Muppet Caper. They're out of the U.S. and they're in hijinks within, England or whatever. Spider-Man 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2, whatever the newest one.
Far From Home.
Far From Home, thank you. He's off in like Italy.
The Shape of Water, out of the tank.
Yeah, that's what it would be.
Yeah.
Shape of Water 2, into the ocean.
Into the ocean.
And you're,
at SeaWorld. He's at a water park.
Yeah, this
just punching dolphins.
And this is one of those scenes that I remember seeing for the first time, and it's just like, it's wild to watch. You watch it back on your DVD or Blu-ray, and the graphics don't quite hold up as well. You'd kind of wish, and this is something that Emily and I have talked about a little bit, watching a lot of like older Pixar movies, thinking like, oh, why can't they just reskin it?
Re-render it, yeah.
Can't they just... I mean, I don't know anything about graphics, and I don't know anything about the costs of movie production or how you would go about just like, oh, can't you just like...
Yeah.
Put a thing on it and make
it better.
Yeah.
Just like can't you make...
If they can redo Sonic, like,
This I think would stand up nicely to having like a better texture map reapplied to everything, because it's fun and like
it looks kind of like Red Dead Redemption or something. Like, it does have a video game.
Well, definitely, I think The Matrix is one of those that not quite suffers from it, but feels very much like a video game at times, especially in the two sequels.
Yeah. All right, man. Ready?
All right, so my first one is They Live.
Okay.
And this is
Roddy
Piper, and Keith David. This is the one that originally got me thinking about movie fistfights
This is
/ brawls.
the alley?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And there's nothing glamorous about this fight scene. You know, a lot of fight scenes have this like very balletic, almost choreography. Mm-hmm. This looks like what would happen if two dudes just started wailing on each other. And not like in that sort of, I'm going to hit you, take a punch, and then I'm going to sit there and wait for you to punch me back sort of thing. I mean, there is eye gouging, there's headbutting. Every once in a while,
you tag in Andre the Giant and Bobby the Brain Heenan's. He's got his cane and he's knocking him down.
Cowboy Bob Orton's got his.
What are we talking about?
No, then he actually does hit Keith David with a suplex at one point.
Nice.
Well, of course.
Because they have to throw in a little bit of wrestling for Mr. Piper.
Yeah.
It was the same thing that used to happen with like The Rock in his early roles. It was like they'd always throw in like
a rock bottom or something.
Rock bottom where like he'd be a giant scorpion and then he'd do like the scorpion elbow on somebody. He'd be like, like with like 40 different legs. You'd be like, I got it.
Well, he's all out of bubblegum.
He's only got two things to do. And then so this is the whole scene where, of course, he's trying to get Keith David to put on these glasses so he can see that there's aliens among us. Which, as Keith David is getting like his face bashed in and almost knocked unconscious, it's like, wouldn't you just put the
glasses on?
After like 5 minutes of just wailing away, wouldn't you be like, fuck it, fine, just give me the stupid glasses?
My dad told me never let another man make you put on glasses.
I'll be damned if it's going to be you, Piper. Yeah, that sounds like some sort of wrestling promo thing gone horribly wrong. But I love this. I love this movie. I always found it weird that Roddy Piper didn't actually make more good movies. I mean, he did like Hell Comes Frogtown and a bunch of other like random weirdo stuff.
Yeah. But
he was, as an action actor goes, he was perfectly good in this.
Yeah.
And could have done other stuff, I think. So I just, like I said, this is one of those, I think, foundational sort of movie brawls.
Yeah.
Because it shows a different way to kind of stage a brawl, and not just, it doesn't have to be this overly choreographed thing.
Maybe it comes down to, with wrestlers, maybe they just don't make the best life choices. Just in general, their life is spent traveling around, fighting people fakely. And then when it comes to choosing movie roles, maybe they just, like, Hogan didn't do a ton of great movies, or like any great movies.
Yeah, but he's a terrible actor.
Well, there's that too. But like, I don't know, they just don't make.
Oh, Rocky's a pretty good. Rocky 2? Rocky 3.
Thunderlips.
Oh, Thunderlips? Yeah, his best role. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Rocky, like you were friends with The Rock or something.
No.
Good old Rocky,
Little
my
Rocky,
boy.
yeah.
I don't know. I think that sometimes they just, maybe they don't choose the right choices.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Winfield, what's your second?
Well, when it comes to movie brawls, Beatrix Kiddo in Kill Bill Volume 1 versus the Crazy 88.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
House of the Blue Leaves. O-Ren Ishii's kind of house, or a restaurant, I guess, that she visits or entertains at.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's her place, but she definitely has the run of the place. And the bride comes to take her revenge upon O-Ren Ishii, and she is encountered with her gang of kind of hipster
schoolgirl,
diamond mask wearing yakuza who just get slaughtered by them.
yeah.
She just takes them apart left and right, and it's wonderful, like all over the place. I love the tidbit about how they shifted to black and white to kind of help tamp down like an NC-17.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
To kind of tamp down the gore. I guess they just had...
When you spoiler alert, when you slice the top off of somebody's head.
Yeah, when arms are falling and blood's just splattering, it helps when it's in black and white. And kind of plays back into like the Quentin Tarantino pulp sort of old school nature of it as well.
That is touching on aspects that I coordinate or connect with a brawl, and that is that there is material damage to the venue.
That too.
Yeah.
We almost touched base on this earlier, but yes, things have to get busted up. Things have to break. Things have to, whether it's a trash can being smashed in an alley or whether it's
beer bottle,
things just getting absolutely destroyed. You feel like you feel like King Kong and Godzilla have been inside a small space, kind of knocking each other around.
Yeah, yeah. Furniture getting crushed. Usually some comedic sidekicks kind of sitting out front, like after they've beaten each other up a little bit. They're just kind of commenting on everything.
So when I saw Kill Bill Volume 1 in the theaters, everyone at the movie, it was at the Grove, and everyone there was watching it with a very serious, like, ooh, this is Tarantino. This is very interesting. Let's see what references he's making. And I just laughed from start to finish. I just thought it was the funniest damn thing I'd ever seen. And then people started getting like mad at me because I was laughing at the movie. I thought it was supposed to, maybe, and later on, like, I realized maybe that wasn't supposed to be a comedy. It's needless to say, I did not watch Volume 2.
You've never seen it?
No, I didn't really.
That's ridiculous.
Why?
How do you leave that movie knowing that there is a sequel coming out when she has 3 more names on her Kill Bill list or whatever, and she still has to kill Bill? This is this is awful. You gotta see it. It's wonderful.
I didn't. I didn't like the first one in the way that I guess I was supposed to like it. So I have very little. I have very little confidence that I'm going to like the second one.
Okay.
In the way that I'm apparently supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how somebody getting the top of their head cut off and then continuing to talk for a couple of seconds before she dies is not funny. Like in a gory, grotesque one. And if that happened in a Peter Jackson movie, you'd be laughing.
I am astounded.
It does occur to me that horror and comedy have the same mechanism of kind of creating tension and releasing tension, and that's something.
Right.
If it was horrific, you would be this point where you're so terrified that you have to either scream or laugh.
Right.
And for you, it was so humorous, and you know, Tarantino's a funny guy.
Right. I mean,
so,
his movies are not. I don't think that his movies are supposed to be consumed with this sort of like it's an academic thing.
Yeah.
Even though he is obviously a film scholar and drops a lot of film references.
Yeah.
I don't look at a Wes Anderson film and go, oh, that's a reference to True Foes. Da, da, da. It's like, that's funny.
Yeah. And in
fascinating
Inglourious Bastards, it was Nazi scalps. It wasn't
exactly.
just the crazy 88s.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I love in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened with me and Kill Bill. Maybe I just was in a weird mood that day. Don't know.
All right, Manfredi.
Okay, my second one is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh.
The airplane fight scene.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this is one that has several different people.
Can't believe you called it Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, as if like you accepted their like retro renaming of it and you just didn't call it Raiders. I don't even know who you are in 2020.
You are. I'm 2020. My
my
goal is to annoy you more, Michael.
Mission accomplished.
The Owls of Gahuli.
Right.
I don't need to put it on there. Which one? The plane sequence?
Yeah. That's so much fun.
Yes, when he's fighting the big German dude.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the ideal summation of Indiana Jones as a fighter, right? It's like he's in this brawl against this guy who, looks like an old-time fighter.
Yeah.
And
circus strongman.
A circus strongman, exactly.
Yeah.
And the dude's like twice his size. And the first thing he does in the fight is kind of look down at his shoes and point. So the guy looks down so he can get a cheap shot on him. Yeah. And later on, he throws sand in his eyes. And then the last thing he does is make sure that he gets kind of just hangs out so he gets chopped to bits by the rotors. And to me, that sums up that character of Indiana Jones really well. Like, he is somebody who is not afraid to mix it up, but he also knows his limitations as a fighter. And he's not afraid to fight dirty if that's what it takes to survive. Yeah. And again, I think it's also, even though a guy gets splattered to smithereens, it's Cuisinarted. It's still a funny scene. Yeah. Which it's fascinating to me.
That's the great thing about fighting Nazis, is you can just have them chopped up to bits, and it's just like,
yeah.
Shouldn't have been a gigantic Nazi.
He fights that guy twice in that movie.
Yeah, he does.
He's like the Cossack-looking dude at the beginning. I love that same stunt person.
Yeah, it's like they ran out of stunt people.
Yeah.
They're like, Tony,
Ugh.
need ya.
In Nepal?
I guess the first scene in the bar with Marion.
Marion
Yeah,
Ravenwood's
there's a big
bar.
dude with a beard. It's the same guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
As the Nazi.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
If you love stunts of Indiana Jones, I realize it's just about the brawl. But I think it's Andy Reynolds. I think it's the guy's name. This Harrison Ford stuntman for all the films.
Oh yeah,
has a great book about being his stuntman for all the films, and being Christopher Reeve stuntman and doing all those fun things. And
I'd read that.
And in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom,
please get it right.
That's acceptable.
Harrison Ford was afflicted with back problems for a long time, and so to keep shooting, his stunt person who had a strong resemblance to him would do entire sequences where with his face away from the camera and all that kind of stuff, so they could still keep shooting. So,
fascinating.
Yeah. All righty. Does it seem like we have our halftime?
Yeah.
Okay. So we want to implore you to go back into our archives, download, rate, and review past episodes. You can do that by going to Apple's podcast aggregator. You can go to Spotify. You can go to iHeartRadio. I think you can even go on YouTube and look at past things.
Yeah,
Does that still happen? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So appreciate if you did that. And go ahead and rate them. Stars are great. We'd love as many stars as you want to throw at them. And then that's the past. But in the future, you could impact the choices that we make on topic by going to join the dialogue on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Give us a suggestion as to a topic you'd love to hear us discuss. Past suggestors have ended up being on the podcast, and that was a lot of fun. So, guys, next episode, what is it going to be? It's going to be
the Mount Rushmore of thoughts about driving while driving.
Wow.
And
that's deep.
That's deep.
Well, I
It could
figured
be very shallow. It could be a hamburger.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, but the hammer has nothing to do with driving.
But it's driving. Okay. No.
But often we spend a lot in LA.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time in our cars, and often.
Not like you simple country folk.
No, but or how about you simple country folk who drive a long distance in a car
or a tractor
or We're off topic. But the point is, often when you're doing something that is a repetitive task or something that you've done a long time driving to and from work, you're so familiar with a route that sometimes your mind wanders even though you should be paying attention. Even though you are paying attention. Driving, you get into like the Zen state of focusing on everything and nothing at the same time. Sometimes you're just like thinking about driving.
Yeah.
And the things about driving. That's next week.
Yes. Let it be known that was humorous in the podcast, Mount Rushmore podcast staff and talent. Respect country folk in every.
Yes, country folk are the heart of America.
That's right. Or internationally.
True.
Yeah. Okay. Getting back to it and going back to Winfield.
Okay, I'm going to do something that is to. This is what you do and say when you want to add a lot of gravitas to a choice. From the 19.
So saith the prophecy.
This is a choice from the 1980 Robert Altman film.
Oh.
Popeye.
Okay.
This is Popeye versus Spike's gang at Roughhouse's diner.
Okay, I love it.
And there is a scene where Popeye is new to town and he's rooming with the Oils and he's over at Roughhouse's diner.
Yeah.
And he is kind of pouring his heart out to Wimpy.
Yeah.
And he's telling Wimpy about, I miss me Pop and my Pap's gone. And he left me when I was a little infant and all this stuff and on the sea and there's a table nearby. And it's filled with Spike and all of his 5 or 6 other gang members. Those gang members are Slug, Butch, Mort, Gozo, and Bolo. Spike, however, played by Dennis Franz.
Yeah.
Wow.
In a very, you don't see his bare ass, but
thank God.
Wow.
But the table just starts laughing.
Wow.
And they're just being a total jerk, making fun of Popeye's story and the way he speaks, and Popeye is still kind of trying to ignore them.
Yeah.
He's trying to get through kind of telling Wimpy his story, and then they start pushing him. And they start making fun of him to his face and humiliating him. And Popeye kind of, he's keeping within himself.
Yeah.
making fun of him, and they're making fun of his dad, and he's like,
Yeah.
hey, I don't need to get in no fight. And then they start harassing all the people, the bartenders, and that's when enough is enough.
Yeah.
And what's great about this scene is that there's this slow build where like the people at the restaurant start locking up the cages. They start knowing that a brawl, a fight's about to happen, and everyone's like really tense. So there's this interesting like tenseness. You know, it's a Popeye film, but this tenseness building up to a 50-second fight where Popeye says like enough is enough, and he says something. This is a smorgasbord of violence. And, you know, he just like lays into them.
Yeah.
And some of them knock each other out. They swing chairs and get caught on the thing, and people start jumping out of windows, and he treats some guy's face like a
punching bag.
Like a punching bag. And it's just, you know, very cartoony violence.
Twisker punch.
And Popeye doesn't get a punch landed on him.
Yeah.
He's clean as a whistle coming out of it, and he's, you know, tough guys come into it thinking they can just mow him down, but it's just a lovely, wonderful brawl. That's
I saw
one-sided, and
that is a very interesting film. And as a young person, I think I saw it twice in theaters. As a young person, loved it, and then as an adult, because Altman, Popeye, you know, where do all these things come together? And I remember that. I think I've seen that within the last few months, and
it's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's on like Canopy, if you have the Canopy app, or if you it's all over the place, but or maybe even Amazon Prime, but it is well shot. The songs are interesting, and they're like seemingly diegetic. Is that the right word? I got to think of it. It's like when a sound comes out, it's like within the scene,
organic within the
scene, and like it's kind of a quasi musical too.
Yeah.
So it feels like everyone is singing within the town, not just like it breaks out into a musical. It's very,
that Sweet Haven.
It's very interesting.
That's the Harry Nilsson music. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What I've read about the production of that was that it was Robert Evans who was pissed at getting outbid for Annie. So he thought, screw them, I'm going to get a different comic, and I'm going to make my own musical.
Oh, my gosh.
So
I love the one-upsmanship.
Trying to keep up with Annie, which was already a hit Broadway musical, being turned into a film. So here he is trying to catch up. And I don't forget where they were.
It's still there.
But the sets...
You can still visit.
You can still go, yeah. Oh, wow. And he got arrested for cocaine possession, like while he was there or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, Manfredi.
Wait, you're saying that Robin Williams did cocaine?
Robert Evans.
Oh, Robert Evans. Oh, sorry.
Robin Williams, most likely. Yeah.
Allegedly. There, we're good now. We're safe.
No, it's spinach. It's spinach.
Cocaine.
It's
cocaine-shaped spinach.
Manfredi.
All right, my third one is Anchorman.
Oh, okay.
The brawl between
team.
the different news teams. Literally, the only note I have on here is, Brick, you killed a guy with a trident.
Yeah.
Because it is in a movie filled with ridiculous things happening.
Yeah.
It manages to outpace everything else in it.
Well, I'll tell you something.
Yeah?
My fourth choice. The brawl from Anchorman 2.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
Which, so you'll get to go again after this, but I chose it for like the exact same reason, just that it was the same thing that was just amped up. And when I was thinking of brawls, I thought of what is a more amped up version of the same thing, which is just like any sequel.
Maybe maybe I'm just biased because I don't think Anchorman 2 was as good of a movie
for sure.
So maybe I'm biased against it. Although I do remember thinking that they managed to do a good job of making the brawl scene from that at
ridiculous.
least ridiculous enough to be worth.
We'll talk about the first one, then I'll talk about the second.
Well, no, I mean just Luke Wilson getting his arm chopped off.
Yeah,
is great. That's, I think, the best gag maybe in the movie.
Him with his arm chopped off. Brick Tamlin running around just holding a grenade, pointing it at people.
Right.
Yeah, where did you get that trident?
Yeah.
It's just a fabulous line.
You might want to go into hiding for a while.
It does nicely. It was so unexpected in the guest star realm, especially you have Ben Stiller coming out as the Spanish news.
Yeah.
Team. Buenos dias.
My favorite is Tim Robbins as the head of the PBS. Yeah.
What I liked about the one in Anchorman 2, it had all the same sort of beats of like the slow introduction of, the fight doesn't last that long. It's the lead up.
Yeah.
And you have the introduction of the lesser ones like Kanye West as like the MTV.
In the ESPN guys.
I like that it expanded the world the way that cable expanded.
Yeah, that's true.
Tina Fey and
Amy Poehler.
Amy Poehler coming as like the entertainment news. Just two badass girls riding on a dune buggy. Anytime anyone's on a dune buggy, I like that. But of course, like the coup de grace is like the History Channel. It's like Liam Neeson as like the main host of the History Channel, and then it's like the ghost of Stonewall Jackson, and then a Minotaur. And it's like, and then they start like debating, like, why is a Minotaur really isn't history?
Yeah.
It's more like it's more like mythology. Yeah. And he's like, they've got a Minotaur, and then of course, Harrison Ford is there,
right?
And he turns into a werewolf, and you're just like, what? You realize they're just doing whatever they want.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what kind of cable is. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
But it just so ridiculous, both those scenes in the middle of this movie.
Right.
What I really liked about the Anchorman 1 scene was when it turned very much into like something on a Planet of the Apes. When they're people on horseback, just start riding someone down with a net.
Oh, yeah.
As if they're whisking up Charlton Heston and his crew.
Right.
And and the music even turns to that sort of like a bongo drum.
Right, it's a very obvious nod to it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's it was so fun seeing their equivalents, and that the Anchorman universe and the connectedness that it has to the comedians who were in the other things like Starsky and Hutch would be Owen Wilson and
oh sure, yeah.
That for me is the closest thing to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where, there's all these different comedy people. You have a feeling off stage that they all live in the same. They're all kind of interchangeable, anyhow. But that moment made it feel so interchangeable.
I realized for my choice as well, all of mine leading up to this were like one person versus a group of people, and I realized Brawls should also include. Everyone fighting at the same time.
Well, that's interesting.
I don't know. That was my note.
Wow.
I noticed none of us, I guess, and I'll do my last one in a second because you're done, right?
Yeah, my last one was Anchorman 2.
Neither of us had a Western. Neither of us had anyone getting, tossed through a window or like pulled the length of the bar. Or something like that. Interesting.
That's interesting.
Nope.
What's your final?
So my last one is the final fight scene from Drunken Master 2.
It was really close to...
Oh, really?
Not the final fight sequence. It was like the one...
There's another one before that.
where he first gets... Or like he's encouraged to really get drunk in the middle of the town square. But that is... Emily and I watched that in the last year, and that is such a fun movie.
It is a fun movie.
Yeah,
and
great choice.
I like it because it's perfect because the whole setup of the movie, which is that Jackie Chan is a master of a style of fighting called drunken fighting, where he has to be very drunk to do it. It lets him fight in a style that in some ways sometimes is more ferocious than we're used to from him. And other times it's just very exaggerated and funny.
Yeah.
So the highlights from this include him trying to bite the guy's eyeball. At one point he picks the other guy up by the legs like you're doing the wheelbarrow thing at a family reunion or something, and then just punches the guy in the gut and sends him like flying. And then he also, I think the last thing he does is he picks him up on his shoulders and basically does a Brock Lesnar F5 to him onto the ground, which is the last thing that knocks him out.
Wow.
He's so good in this choreographed environment break stuff, using the environment to fight people, sort of things.
Right, and generally versus something like They Live, which is choreographed to not look choreographed.
Yeah.
These are choreographed and they look very choreographed, but in a way where it's also frenetic. The way he fights is, there's just fist and feet literally flying like it's Taz, and there's a
a cloud,
a tornado cloud, and you see arms and legs sort of popping out. That's kind of what it feels like.
The great moments in that movie are like he's in the middle of the fight and he has to keep taking swigs of alcohol from different people, like in the group surrounding it. He has to get so drunk and then continue to be drunk. And that makes him an even better and looser fighter.
And and after the final fight scene, he literally burps up a bubble, like in the cartoons. It's great.
I love it. So that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm glad no fisticuffs happened. I would like to first off invite our audience to tune in next week when we have the Mount Rushmore of thoughts you have about driving while driving. But then I want to rate. I'm going to go with Popeye because he was the biggest brawler when I was a little kid. You know, Popeye, the animated cartoon, was the most widely syndicated cartoon during the 50s, 60s, and 70s, I think.
More so than Woody Woodpecker?
More so than like the Walter Lantz and the Hanna-Barbera, things like there was shown more. Maybe it means it was like cheaper for stations or something. I don't know.
Might have been in the public
public domain
at that point.
Yeah. Then I thought it was super cool choice. So Drunken Master, then They Live. I love the aspect of it that it didn't seem as choreographed. It felt almost a little bit more
dirty.
Like probably what you feels actually be in a real brawl,
right,
versus a cinema brawl. And let's see, why don't we go because girls can throw down? Beatrix Kiddo from Kill Bill. Is it? We did it, guys. This has been the Mount Rushmore of Brawls. We'll see Brawl Yater. I'm always Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.